podcast where we talk to smart people, but not necessarily done by smart people?
That is an awesome question.
This one goes down probably on one of my top 5.
Hey, I like nutrition. I like to eat food.
This is the coolest thing ever. We're going to do this forever.
I wish I paid more attention in that class.
You know, I'm going to be honest, I don't understand that. As a man, I don't get it.
Welcome to smartpeoplepodcast.com.
Hello and welcome to Smart People Podcast, conversations that satisfy your curious mind. John Rojas here. Yes, that is probably a surprise to most of you. Thank you so much for joining us today. We've got a guest that is in the industry that is near and dear to my heart. As most of you know, I am an educations program manager at General Assembly, and General Assembly is a tech education school that teaches adults design, business, and code. So for full transparency, our guest today is actually an alumni of our New York City campus, but we'll get into that a little bit more in the interview. This week, I'm speaking with Jerome Hardaway. Jerome is the executive director of Vets Who Code, which you can find more information about at vetswhocode.io. As I previously mentioned, Jerome is a General Assembly alumni, but he's also an Air Force combat veteran, a panelist for Ruby Rogues, a Ruby-based podcast that is fantastic and you should definitely check out, and just an all-around good guy. If you want to find out more about Vets Who Code, please head over to vetswhocode.io. You can donate there, or you can go straight to vetswhocode.kindful.com and send them a donation to help Jerome and his team really get this off the ground and support the veterans that are looking to make a career change into web development. All right, before we dive into the interview with Jerome, I just wanted to remind you that with the holidays coming up and all the holiday shopping that you will probably be doing, one of the best ways that you can support Smart People Podcast is doing your holiday shopping through our Amazon link. And that link is smartpeoplepodcast.com/Amazon. Remember, it comes to no cost to you. We get a nice little kickback from Amazon, and it really does help support the show. All right, now that we've got the housekeeping stuff out of the way, let's dive into our interview with Jerome Hardaway, the executive director of Vets Who Code. Jerome, thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy day to speak with us here at Smart People Podcast. I'm super pumped to have you on. You have an amazing story. Can't wait for our listeners to hear about that. But first, I want you to be able to give our listeners a little bit of background about yourself. So in about 2 or 3 minutes, can you give me your story up until now?
Roger that. My name is Jerome Hardaway. I was originally U.S. Air Force. After getting out of the Air Force, I transitioned into software development, and now I'm the executive director of Vets Who Code, a 501c3 that focuses on giving veterans tangible skills to transition into the new economy.
That's amazing. And we've got a pretty close link. So you are a General Assembly alumni, is that correct?
Yes, I am a General Assembly alumni and an Op Fund alumni. 2014, there was some really crazy stuff going down, and I created a campaign using the minimum code skills that I had that helped another veteran's family in need. And I had already applied to General Assembly. They actually told me that I wasn't qualified for the Opportunity Fund. But when I guess this whole thing went viral, they turned around and I was like, hey, he is qualified. They like wanted to give me a chance because they were like, hey, we never had a kid go viral before who was able to use code skills. So they gave me a chance. They brought me up to New York, and I was able to, show up and show out, put my best foot forward, and they loved it. And I enjoyed it too. And after that, I was already in like a kind of web development position before that. But after that, I decided I was going to try to see what the market was. And even though I got my first like job offer within 6 weeks of the program, I did jobs just to see how they were, what were like the hiring managers. I just like ideology and things of that nature. Mm-hmm. And for a full year, while building Vets Who Code and helping other veterans learn how to code and get jobs, I was doing like about an interview a week for a full year just to see on building my program and our curriculum, not based on what the hiring managers want and what the teams want, because, teams want something totally different than what hiring managers want.
Sure.
Hiring managers want, and hiring managers want something that totally different than what the CEO wants. CEO wants something totally different than what the team wants. So that journey ended up getting us invited to the White House last year, and now it's gotten us invited to Silicon Valley twice this year, and we're just doing more and more now to help our veterans learn how to code. We actually started a Kickstarter yesterday in conjunction with things that we have going on out here to focus on helping to build a platform that, once we finish it, any veteran that can be verified through like ID.me will be able to, use our tools and our resources to learn how to code, and also get like a lot of the things that we do, like a lot of services that we offer, because we're always trying to get like a dope, unique experience for our veterans. Like I told you, about a month ago, we had DHH come in and talk to the troops, and that was just amazing.
Yeah,
and
I
first
bet.
thing I thought about was like, damn, I wish more people here, because we pride ourselves on our level of intimacy, but when we think about like how many people we can help, and think we're changing our curriculum or our nonprofit in the concept of more of a product or a platform as opposed to just a teacher-student relationship exclusively. I just think about the scalability, and how many people whose lives we can impact. And, that's what nonprofits are about, is about, impacting people's quality of life.
It's definitely an amazing cause. I want to thank you first and foremost for your service, but secondarily for helping and really trying to improve the lives of others who have served this country. So just bravo to you, sir, about that. And I want to dive into Vet2 Code, but there's part of me that I still want to dig into this story a little bit, because it's the timeline fascinates me. So Vet2 Code, did the idea come prior to getting into General Assembly, while you were in General Assembly, or after General Assembly?
Way prior in, actually. I was working as like in marketing, which was in digital marketing, which for a nonprofit, which in reality I was actually doing all their code work for them. When we were trying to figure out ways to, solve the problem of funding that actually helps veterans, that actually help them operate. Mm-hmm. And I came through the idea of using gamification. I was like, well, why don't we wouldn't it be awesome if there was like a mobile app or something out there that had absolutely nothing to do with veterans, but was attached to a nonprofit, and the revenue from that app helped that nonprofit make money or like, generate funding for them. And everybody was like, oh, yeah, wow, that's awesome. But because my biggest problem is being too advanced for where I was planted, and being 5 years, or being not 5 years, or being on trend with what people are thinking, but being in a community that's like 5 years behind is like really, really tough. I'm originally from Memphis, Tennessee, and the problem with the military is you get what we like to say, a global mindset. Like, you may be local, but you think global, or at least I did. Not everybody comes out as lucky as me with actually, having the opportunity to, even when they're in the military, be able to use their brain. I was in this community, and no one really understood what I was saying about using technology to leverage to help veterans. And everybody was still in this old school mentality of focusing on helping veterans the old-fashioned way. But I was like, we've been doing old-fashioned way since, the 80s, and it's not been really helpful. So let's focus on a way that can help veterans that, first, let's focus on being more proactive instead of reactive. We know all the data. We know all the things that, happens that, we have to focus on to get veterans, like, where veterans will be in trouble. So let's first focus on that. And then from focusing on that, let's focus on everything else in that concept of helping veterans actually get skills. Because I'm big, in every religion, what I learned was like the whole teach a person a skill concept, like that teach a man a fish concept,
right,
was there. So I was like, there's something to that. Like if you give a person a skill that's on trend, they can, perhaps maybe eventually segue to another skill. Like I tell people all the time, I don't think coding is the only way to break into tech, but I think learning how to code is one of the easiest ways to break into tech, and then be able to segue into other things.
I 100% agree. And was that your mindset going into the program too, where you had this idea and you wanted to execute on it, and going into General Assembly and learning how to code was a piece for you as opposed to the end goal, right? Like, were you hoping to come out as moving into development jobs, or Vet2 Code was it, and this was just one of those stepping stones, and then the interviews and all of the information that you're collecting throughout the process was really the goal this entire time to help set up the success of Vet2 Code?
No, I would be remiss and technically just basically lying if I was to say that. A lot of things of Vet2 Code is just, coming from the number one military skill you have, which is being able to adapt and overcome. I was able to adapt a lot. When I saw trends and I was able to adapt on them. And one thing about learning how to code is you're able to move fast. So
right.
You take that military speed with the speed of the internet and the skill to be able to use both, and you're able to really capitalize on doing some amazing things. That's what we've been working on. I mean, that's what we did, and everything just really helped, and everything just really clicked. It was just an amazing work for us to be able to go and just be able to do what we've been able to do and help more people. Like so far, we've helped 80 veterans in 14 states. Have a cohort going on now that we're going through interview phase with right now. And they love it. We love it. They're happy. We were invited to Dreamforce. We brought one of our veterans out here to San Francisco. He absolutely had a blast. We while out here, not only did we do the Dreamforce thing, we did a bunch of the veteran. We did a bunch of like company tours, and company stuff, and it was just amazing for the whole group.
Right.
And for us. And, he just, between what we did and what we were doing and, his level of knowledge when hiring managers sat with him, they asked us to come back out. And that was really cool to have like Facebook see what we were doing and, want us here. And they want to talk to us and they want to build with us. Like that was, shocked first and foremost. Like, holy crap. They're asking me what was I doing? I was like, if you guys are asking me out, I'm doing nothing. And then they brought us out here, and you brought me out here, and I'm like, holy, even today, it's still surreal. It's going to be surreal until it happens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because, I tell people all the time, I was security forces in the Air Force, and I'm your guests might not be able to tell, but I'm a black dude coming from like South Memphis and Tennessee, and be able to go from that type of background to where I'm at today, talking at Facebook is, my brain has still not figured out. Like it hasn't hit me yet. Like what the heck is going on?
Let's really dive into Vet2 Code. I want you to be able to talk to our listeners and let them know exactly what Vet2 Code is. And then I guess after that, I'm really interested in hearing what your vision is for it, in the next couple of years or however many years out. I don't want to put you on the spot for like a 10-year plan or any of that kind of thing, but it would just be really cool to make that, like comparison to where it is now and where, you're starting to see things can move forward.
Well, where we are now is that we're still doing the platform the idea that we initially came up with, a unique experience, learning how to program with how the military trained you how to prep for deployment, and mixing those two together and adding in like the best tactics based on what we've gathered from hiring managers, things of that nature, into like teaching veterans how to code. We start with after we do our interview phase, where we select our students, which is basically 3 interviews. 1 interview is the initial, then you have a month until the next interview, which is the technical stuff, which gives you enough time to do our pre-work because we want to give everybody a fair shot. And then we have the impact interview, in which we try to figure out if our program is right for you on the concept of will it help you. Fact of the matter is, when we started out, we were like, we don't want to, we just don't want to be a free resource just for veterans that, they may not need it if you have if you're making $90,000 a year and you just hate your job, there's so much time that we would have to spend with you that could go to somebody that doesn't, that making $30,000 a year and they need to learn how to, they need a new skill so they can, provide for their family. So that's what we focused on. And it worked. But the thing that is the problem is, for instance, our current cohort, we had 137 people apply. It's impossible when you're trying to do just one class of no more than 13 people, or a squad, as we say in the military, to be able to help. So we've been thinking, how do we scale to help more people, help more veterans? And that was our biggest problem. How do we help more people? That's gonna, that scares me. I don't know how to help more people without making a non-sustainable infrastructure. And that was when we came up with the platform idea and how to build it out. And we were looking at all the platforms. And one of the things that reason why we came up with the platform idea is because, one of the things we've always done is that we look for the best platforms out there or best tools out there to help our veterans. We've spent thousands of dollars testing resources out so our veterans can, to see what's good, what sucks, right, and recommend those to them, because one of the things that I'd say, I want to spend the money so other folks don't have to. And while looking for platforms or resources, I was going through all these cast or screen video cast websites, and a lot of them didn't pass the test. Especially when it comes to Ruby on Rails, is a lot of the Rails casting companies or stuff out there is very egotistical. It is more ego driven. This is only for a certain type of or a certain level of Rails person or Rubyist, and that is also their people want to essentially pay because they want to show that I have a Ruby this account because I'm that type of person. I have these type of problems. Right. And one of the best casting companies or cast companies I saw out there was a company that had absolutely nothing to do with Ruby, but it was just beautiful. The way he does it from a methodology of this, it's just perfect when it comes to how he does it. And I was like, I wish we had a resource like this for Rails and Ruby. And I wish we had a resource like this for veterans. Then we were like, we all know how to code. Why are we sitting here, wishing for something that we can actually do? And then we started looking into the price point and how to integrate all of our current tooling into an application and make it, essentially for veterans, and how to make it so veterans can get it for free, which was another thing. How do we speed up that process of helping veterans, just being able to get in, get verified. Oh, you're verified. Here's your account stuff. Have fun. Here's the track. Here's when live sessions are. Here's when AMAs are. Here's podcast stuff. Here's free resources that you can either use within the site or you can download and use them locally. All that stuff is what we were thinking about. When I think about the tools and the partnerships that we have currently with Vetsu Code, what I was thinking about is how do I do that but scale that whole thing? And how do I make our partners know that they're getting in the right hands and all of this stuff? That's what that's what made us do it. We were like, we need to do it in a way that we can help anybody that wants to have this skill, anybody that wants something real to skill, real methodology. Because there are some channels that just start building on this, right? Or they're using a book that isn't really made for people who have no freaking clue of what they're doing. Right. Eloquent JavaScript is an amazing book if you have at least some type of a little bit experience with code, or you've at least done some type of pre-work or something. Right.
But and it's always the book that's given to starters and frustrate
they get discouraged because they can't figure out past chapter 3. Yep. And that's one of the things that I try to solve. Find the best resources for newbies. We try to think of it our curriculum, we think of it from veterans in the worst case scenario. If they are, we honestly, when we thought about our curriculum, we were we want to make it so that this may sound weird or crazy or harsh, but we want to make it so that if there was a person or a single female who was non-binary in our community, we could actually help that person learn and get a job. That's what would be based upon our curriculum. Like the person that would have the hardest point of entry into getting a job at software. And harsh reality is that unless you're in Silicon Valley or New York or Washington, if you're a minority, if you're a woman, or if you're LGBTQ, it's significantly harder to break into those type of jobs that require this or, require these type of skills.
Absolutely.
So, in our internal motto is skills pay the bills. So to do that, we have to make sure that we're skilling you up to the level that, these guys can't deny you. And that's why we chose Rails, because with Rails, we could do everything. And we could teach you how the web works. We could teach you asset pipeline, which will help you learn JavaScript. Right. We could teach you Node by using React or Angular and Ember on top of Rails. And it clicks. It makes it so much easier for us to be able to go through that process of going from server side to front end, and you're learning the hottest front end stacks while learning a popular framework. Mm-hmm. It just made sense to do it that way because it gave our troops a tactical advantage. You get a lot of experience really fast when you're building with Rails, and Ruby is very forgiving. And by the time they have enough experience with Ruby, when we move into JavaScript, they're not as afraid of JavaScript as they were with Ruby, as they were because of Ruby. So that's what that's why we always do Ruby and Ruby on Rails first, then we move on into like asset pipeline and things like that. We Ruby on Rails and JavaScript, and from JavaScript, then we go in front end frameworks. It's all about A, in the military, we say smarter, not harder, and B, our internal motto is skills pay the bills. So
I love that. And now a quick word from this week's sponsor. We're happy to welcome a new sponsor, Whiplash Merch. If you're running an e-commerce business, Whiplash is your virtual warehouse. You send your products to a Whiplash facility so that when orders come in, Whiplash packs and ships them just like you would, but faster and cheaper. Leave the logistical hassle of order fulfillment to Whiplash Merch and save money on shipping costs while doing so. Holiday sales shouldn't be stressful. Next time, get Whiplash. Whiplash has facilities in the Detroit, San Francisco, Los Angeles, and London areas. Listeners can get a $100 credit when signing up using our link, getwhiplash.com/smart. That's getwhiplash.com/smart. And now back to the episode. I absolutely love that. And it's really cool to see. So you've got Vet2 Code, which is an online program, and you're helping a number of people, and you're looking to scale that so you can help more people. And
so I can help anybody who's a veteran.
Right.
That's
right. Like you don't want to limit, right? So you're almost scaling to infinity. And one of the things that, if Chris were on the interview right now, he started helped start a food nonprofit in Washington, D.C., and I remember seeing how hard it was to start a nonprofit. So you've got this nonprofit, which is going to be free for vets. So the biggest question I have is... It's always been free. It's just that we couldn't sustain, this comes to time. Right. Time was the enemy. So no, absolutely. So the question that I have for you, with a nonprofit, is how are you getting money to help do this, right? Like people can donate. Are you going after grants and those kinds of things too, and partners?
Starting next year, we're going to go after grants. Cool. But this year, it's been just supporters, donations. It's really been that skills pay the bills is a really big part of us, because what happens is people see that we're really good at what we do and we're the best of the best. And, there are other nonprofits that are getting into this. But when people see not only, a lot of our relationships have been built off of me actually going and getting the interview, smashing the interview, and then turning around and turning down the interview and pitching Vet2 Code. I actually did that with Media. A lot of people who have seen us on the Gary Vaynerchuk show, they know or they are aware that, the backstory behind that is I actually applied for a Python developer position there.
Mm-hmm.
End up going through the interview process, end up being told, I'd be a great fit. Turn around and told the director of development that, yeah, I'm not really interested in this, but with Vetsu Code, I can give you a bunch of guys who can do just this. And then I went on to reiterate that, my Python experience is like 30 days. I don't know really anything. I don't really play around with Python. So I came in here. I trained in Python about 30, 40 days, and I was able to be able to do enough Python to be able to get this type of position. And, so that's where a lot of our relationships, and we've actually just gotten to the point where we've been able to just talk about it because we have so much traction and so many people who have heard about us or seen the work we do that I don't have to go and do interviews with companies anymore just to, I can cold email people now for conversations. And like, I never thought I'd be at that level. And so I think that's one thing that, separates us from a lot of people. A lot of nonprofits, they start off with the relationship game first because, they're always like old people or people who may not be as skilled at the top level to do that, to do what we do. But we start off on a skills level first, and then we moved into relationships. Like this weekend, I just won a hackathon I was a mentor for some kids at a social justice conference, and they had a hackathon into it. These guys, this conference asked me to come down and be a mentor, and I was the person in charge of building the product. While my co-mentor, she was in charge of getting the kids on how to think of startup methodologies to build their product. At the end, I built what they wanted. They were the kids were impressed, which was really great for me. Like, having kids, like I remember being a kid and kids didn't care about code, especially if they came from underprivileged neighborhoods. So having kids care about it now is like really, really dope.
And they're going to remember it too, because I think I saw the picture. Didn't they win a bunch of like Xboxes and other Microsoft stuff?
Yeah, they won
That's
some Facebook
fantastic.
swag, some Twitter swag, and they all won Xbox One. So yeah, they definitely gonna remember me.
Exactly.
They gonna remember, like they always gonna remember me. Like, oh yeah, that's the dude. We won it. Yeah, thank you, Jay. And and that's what I bring to them. Like I've thrown the gauntlet out there plenty of times. Of course, no one's ever picked it up. Like if you guys think that for other veteran VSOs that are in the tech space, if you guys think you can outdo me in this, then as the Spartans, I'm like, come and get it. Like that's where I'm at. There's a lot of people in this space that there are not a lot of people, but there are people who are coming in the space that shouldn't be in it because they're not here for the right reasons, and frankly, they just don't have the skills for it, and that hurts the whole space because you're making a lot of noise, and the people who are doing the real work aren't being able to effectively help the people that matter. So that's one of the reasons why we take the stance that we take, and we're out there, we're teaching, we're using our skills first because it's a lot easier to start a relationship with people who you already know are competent versus that, I don't know, like I have to get to know you. Well, you can try to, you already know me now because I just got a job offer from you and told you no. So that's why we take that approach.
Yeah, and I'm glad you touched on that again because I really wanted to reiterate for our listeners. I find it so fascinating that the approach that you took, instead of just telling people about what you did, you proved it to them, right? So you go out for that interview, you say, hey, I've taught myself how to do this. I'm also helping teach other people how to do this. They're going to be great resources for you or employees for you at some point. Let's partner. I don't know. It's just, it's so awesome as this like grassroots thing. And now you're not at that position anymore where like now people know who you are. They know who Vets Who Code is, and you can reach out to them and start the relationship that way. But I truly find it fascinating, the approach that you took.
I think
That's
we
cool.
never get rid of that grassroots mentality. Like,
right.
In the core VWC team has like we call it, you have to have a fighter's edge.
Yep.
You cannot think of it. We think of this as a combat operation. That's how we operate it. Like you may not have the best tools, but we still have a problem to solve. We still have a mission to complete.
Yep.
So that's how we think of it. We think of it as a combat operation. We have to keep that mental edge. We have to keep that sharpness.
Right.
So we view a lot of our stuff off of grassroots. We're always looking how to improve. We're always looking how to be better. We're always looking on like how to solve problems on for veterans, or how to continue to leverage the internet, or how to navigate certain things. Like that is first, second, third, fourth, fifth thought. Like we have to do this for the veterans. I know that I'm not the only person out here that was in the position I was in. Like we have people who are like weapons loaders that come through, and they don't, weapons loader doesn't have, any hard transferable skills, but they have leadership, they have problem solving. I look at when, people tell me they're not qualified for stuff. I'm like, have you ever loaded a missile on F-23 before? Like, that's not an easy thing
it's no joke.
Do. I mean, I think you should really give this person a hard look and see what this person brings to the table, because, like I said, F-22 is not, not, that's a freaking plane. I'm like, this person puts missiles on a plane, and make sure that nothing bad happens until the pilot wants something bad to happen. So what more do you guys, what do y'all want? These people are skilled. You're looking at the hard skills and not all the other stuff. They're easy to train. I mean, they're learnable. They're dedicated and motivated. What more do you want for your company than an easy to train, dedicated, motivated individual? I'm like, that's insane. And if we can, you can teach skills, but you can't teach motivation. You can't teach hard work. You can't teach a can-do attitude and spirit. You can, only teach the skills, which is so funny to me that we've gotten into this as a community, as a country, gotten to this, only the skills matter. Because used to be, you want, the quality of the person, because people matter more than the skills. Because, there are some, we all know at least a couple of rock stars in whatever industry or field that you absolutely regret dealing with every day.
Yep.
So I'm like, I'm included with that. I'm like, other people, I'm like, oh, they're really good at what they do, but I wish I never met that person.
Yeah, I do think that we're hopefully moving back to the people focus, especially as we get closer to automation and all of these different things. Like, the people is going to be what truly matters. And I have a slight bias because one of my WDI instructors at the DC campus is an Army veteran, and he did, it was somewhere between 7 and 9 years of service, but the dedication and leadership and just thoroughness and all of the things that you are talking about is so apparent that it's the perfect blend of skills in my mind. So if you have a veteran coming out of any line of service that is interested in coding, it makes sense. Again, like, I just want to thank you for Vet2 Code.
Trust me, it's a selfish endeavor. So,
well, sure, but everything
I'm trying
to
create what I wish was out there for me when I wanted to start. So when people tell me thank you, it's really weird. So, like, first, it's my civic duty. Second, we have to take care of our, you got to take care of your own. You're supposed to take care of veterans.
Yep.
And I just thought of a better way, or in my opinion, a better way to take care of veterans. And like I said, selfish. I am trying to build what I wish was out there for me when I got out. And I was like, this is what I want to do. And I was just like stumbling through books. I was lucky. I found Zed Shaw's Learn Ruby the Hard Way.
Mm-hmm.
And going full like on 80. I've gone from learning Ruby from Learn Ruby the Hard Way to meeting Zed Shaw, having Zed Shaw doing a AMA for our troops, to now he's on my board. Like, it's the craziest thing. Like, holy freaking crap. I can't believe that I look up to Zed so much, and he's on my board. Like, holy crap. Like, I tell people, and now we have Paul Ford as an advisor on our board. And it's just like, I tell people, I don't know what I'm doing right, but somebody likes me, because I'm like, I'm not supposed to be this lucky to have people who I respect. If you don't know Paul Ford, he wrote the article "What is Code" for Bloomberg, and it's to be able to have him come in as an advisor is just like, oh my goodness, I don't know what I am. I don't know what I'm doing.
But you don't have to, though, right? It's you want to put something good into the world, regardless if it's for a selfish purpose. I think most things are, and I'm glad that people have that, because otherwise new stuff, better stuff would not keep coming out. So we do have veterans who listen to the show, and we have people that love donating to good causes. So let's direct them to your website. Can you let our listening audience know where they should go, where they should follow on Twitter, any social media stuff? Like, just go ahead, plug
Facebook,
away.
We're Vets Who Code on Facebook. We are Vets Who Code on Instagram and Twitter. We have Vets Who Code Medium, and we're in LinkedIn. Also, our website is vetswhocode.io. So, like, if you want more veterans to get better skills and be able to skill up faster, help us be able to help other people, help as many veterans as we can.
That's awesome. And we'll post on smartpeoplepodcast.com. We'll link to everything there. We'll direct people to Vets Who Code so they can check out all the information around you too. And I'll make sure that we're plugging that link on Twitter too. I think this is a great organization. It's a fantastic thing for somebody to be doing. So again, Jerome, thank you for doing this. Thank you for your service, and thank you for being on Smart People Podcast.
Thank you for having me. It was really fun. Thank you for supporting vets everywhere.
Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed that episode with Jerome Hardaway. Jerome is the founder and creator of Vets Who Code. You can find more information about Vets Who Code at vetswhocode.io. And if you want to make a donation to Vets Who Code, you can do so by heading over to vetswhocode.io, or you can go to vetswhocode.kindful.com. I really appreciate everybody that listens to the show. Thank you so much for supporting Smart People Podcast. The easiest way to support Smart People Podcast is to use our Amazon link, which is located at smartpeoplepodcast.com/Amazon. And any purchase that you make through Amazon will give us a nice little kickback at no cost to you. If you're looking for other free and easy ways to support the show, you can head over to iTunes and leave a rating and review over there. If you'd ever like to get in touch with the show, you can shoot us an email at smartpeoplepodcast@gmail.com or message us on Twitter at smartpeoplepod. That's all I've got for this week. Thanks for sticking around on this episode. Thank you for letting me bring an interview that I find pretty near and dear to my heart to Smart People Podcast. As much as I love doing the production and tech and website stuff, I still do have a small soft spot in my heart for the interviews. So again, thank you for that. I hope you enjoyed. Please stay tuned for all the amazing interviews that we have coming up. Head over to smartpeoplepodcast.com, sign up for the newsletter, do all of the things that I always talk about. Thank you, and enjoy the upcoming holidays with your friends, your family, your loved ones, whoever those may be. Just stay safe and do good in this world. Now that the show's over, please don't forget to check out our newest sponsor, Whiplash Merch. If you're running an e-commerce business, Whiplash is your virtual warehouse. You send your products to a Whiplash facility so that when orders come in, Whiplash packs and ships them just like you would, but faster and cheaper. Leave the logistical hassle of order fulfillment to Whiplash Merch and save money on shipping costs while doing so. Remember, holiday sales shouldn't be stressful. Next time, get Whiplash. Whiplash Merch has facilities in Detroit, San Francisco, Los Angeles, and London. And as a listener of Smart People Podcast, you can get a $100 credit when you sign up at our link, getwhiplash.com/smart. That's getwhiplash.com/smart.